Hello everyone, I have a truly terrifying story for you today. It's all started with a single ring. Be careful what you answer, because some calls never end.
Voices of the Dead from the Other Side of the Phone. A Supernatural Thriller, 2019. The Beginning. The Phone That Fell into the Grave. It was a bleak, overcast autumn afternoon in 2019. The air hung thick with the scent of pine and damp earth. Thomas, a man whose hands knew the rough feel of manual labor, was performing a solemn task at the old parish cemetery, lowering the heavy coffin of Old Man Hemlock into his final resting place. The grave was deep, and the ropes were slick with dew. In the physical struggle, Thomas failed to notice the small, solid object that slipped silently from his breast pocket. It was his prized possession, a brand new, heavy Bakelite rotary phone. Thomas had chosen the authentic reproduction, valuing its unique durability and style. It tumbled straight down, landing with a soft, muffled thud deep within the grave, unseen beside the head of the coffin. No one noticed. The final rites were given, and the earth was quickly shoveled back into place. The call from beneath. At home, panic tightened its icy grip when Thomas realized the phone was missing. He drove to the village's only public payphone and with a trembling hand dialed his own new number. Tring, 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 tring. His eyes widened. The faint, unmistakable sound of his loud ringtone, a jarring, mechanical tring, 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 was audible through the receiver, coming from the direction of the cemetery less than a mile away. Meanwhile, Mr. Abernathy, the undertaker, was jolted awake by a bizarre, relentless ringing at 2 a.m. Frozen with fear, he followed the sound to the freshly covered grave of Old Man Hemlock. The mechanical sound vibrated up from the packed earth. The Hemlock family was roused, and convinced it was an omen, they ordered the grave reopened immediately. An hour later, the undertaker's shovel hit something hard. There it was, Thomas's black phone, lying directly beside the pine coffin. As the undertaker reached for it, the phone rang again. Thomas, still calling from the payphone, heard the deceased son answer. The shock of the impossible revelation hung in the cold night air. Thomas hung up. The chill he felt wasn't from the autumn night, it was the icy breath of the impossible. The strange incident on the road. Later that night, Thomas retrieved the phone and drove toward home. He pressed the accelerator, yet the car refused to surge past 20 kilometers per hour. The engine roared, but an invisible, immense weight seemed tethered to the bumper, dragging the car back. His knuckles turned white on the steering wheel. It felt as if the phone, ominously resting on the passenger seat, was preventing him from truly leaving the vicinity of the dead. Miles away from the cemetery, the resistance instantly vanished. The car surged forward. Thomas glanced at the black phone. A profound, cold fear told him this was less a retrieved object and more a stolen key, a key that unlocked a door he should never have opened. 3:45 a.m., the first ghost call. He cleaned the phone and managed a few hours of uneasy sleep. At 3:45 a.m., the day hour, the mechanical tring, tring, tring shattered the silence. Thomas fumbled for the receiver. Silence. Only a strange, low-frequency static. He tried again. Then came a distorted, breathy, scraping whisper, like a shovel disturbing grave dust. I died in 1905. I need your help. I need someone to dig. The receiver clattered to the floor. Thomas snatched it up. Dead silence. He couldn't throw the phone away. A macabre curiosity, a terrifying obligation had taken hold. From that day on, the strange calls kept coming. The voices of the dead, crying, begging, and screaming. The nightmare was only just beginning. Emily, the lost child, Spirit 313. One rainy night, the phone lit up. Incoming call, Spirit 313. A trembling, impossibly young girl's voice whispered, I'm Emily. The water is black. Find me, please. The phone displayed coordinates leading to a foggy riverbank. Thomas drove there, hearing a soft, heartbreaking sobbing. His flashlight revealed a tiny, translucent silhouette standing near the bank's edge.
I didn't fall into the river, Mr. Thomas. Someone pushed me, my stepfather. The phone flashed a new set of coordinates, an address. Thomas rushed to the house. The moment the man who answered the door saw Thomas and the black phone, he panicked. Before Thomas could speak, Emily's cold ghost drifted through the closed door, hovering silently behind the stepfather. The man screamed, a shrill animal sound of pure guilt. I didn't mean to. I pushed her. He collapsed, confessing everything. Thomas's phone glowed violently. A mechanical voice sounded from the receiver. Judgment processing. The stepfather went rigid, then collapsed lifelessly onto the floor. Emily's spirit brightened, smiling faintly. Thank you, Thomas. I'm free now. The phone beeped. Spirit 313 released. The shadow in the mountain cave. Spirit 314. The next call was deep, ancient, like stones grinding. I am trapped in the Black Ridge mountain cave. My killer, the one who sought my gold, is still here among the living. Thomas followed the coordinates, finding a yellowed skull inside the cave. Suddenly, a massive man stepped out of the darkness, holding a mining hammer. What are you doing here? Digging up old business? The man roared, lunging. Thomas knew he was the killer. The phone activated itself. Judgment mode activated. A brilliant, scalding hot beam of pure white light shot from the receiver toward the murderer. The man was instantly flung back against the rock wall and died. The ancient spirit sighed. Justice is done. I can rest now. The phone beeped. Spirit 314 released.
The Silent House in the Valley, Spirit 3014B. The phone briefly returned to standby, the black screen pulsing with a faint, uneasy gray light. Thomas was exhausted, but before he could leave the cave, the phone rang again, a slow, dread-inducing tring, tring, tring. The screen displayed, Incoming call, Spirit 3014B. This voice was dry and ancient, like paper turning to dust. It was the voice of an old woman, brittle with forgotten despair. Thomas, I have been forgotten for 70 years, trapped in the house I built. My family locked me in the attic to die. They wanted the land. The heir who did it, he still lives in my walls. The coordinates pointed not to a remote location, but to a vast, decaying house in the valley just outside the town limits, the old Harrington estate, which everyone believed was simply abandoned. Thomas drove there in the cold moonlight. The house stood silent, its windows like vacant eyes. The phone in Thomas's hand provided a thermal readout of the interior, a single human signature moving slowly on the third floor. He kicked the heavy front door open. Inside, the air was stale and heavy with the smell of mold and forgotten things. As he moved through the dusty halls, he heard the faint sound of rattling chains, the spectral signature of the trapped old woman. Thomas found the concealed staircase leading to the attic. At the top, a bent, aged man, the current owner and great-grandson of the woman, was meticulously polishing antique silver. His eyes were dull and preoccupied. "Who are you? Get out! This property is private," the old heir croaked, clutching a silver tea service. Thomas held up the phone. "I'm here about your great-grandmother." The air went utterly still. The air in the attic dropped several degrees. A terrifying shadow, the height of the ceiling, manifested behind the air. It was the spirit of the old woman, her hands spectral claws. The old woman's voice, amplified by the phone, was no longer brittle, but a commanding, heavy whisper. "He knows what he did. He enjoyed the profit of my suffocation." The heir's face crumbled into a mask of terror. He didn't confess, but his eyes, locked on the spectral shadow, screamed his guilt. Thomas didn't hesitate this time. He raised the phone. Judgment processing. The phone emitted a high-frequency, piercing siren that only the guilty man and the spirit seemed to hear. The heir dropped the silver and fell to his knees, clutching his head, his body shaking violently before he collapsed, completely motionless.
The old woman's enormous shadow shrank, condensing into a bright white orb that pulsed him quiet relief. Thank you, Thomas. The silence is finally gone. The phone confirmed. Spirit 3014B released. Final chapter. Spirit 3015. Daniel's Revenge. Then, the screen flashed an urgent, aggressive red. Spirit 3015. Extremely dangerous. Caller, Daniel. Thomas's blood turned to ice. Daniel, his best friend who had died 5 agonizing years ago. Thomas answered with shaking hands. Daniel's voice was measured, terrifyingly calm. Yes, Thomas, your old friend, the one who died because of you. Thomas remembered the terrible day, the cliff edge, Daniel slipping, and Thomas's blinding, selfish fear, the split-second hesitation that made him withdraw his hand. The investigators called it an accident. Daniel called it betrayal. You could have saved me, Thomas. Your hand was the last thing I saw reaching for me, and then it pulled back. Tears streamed down Thomas's face. I swear I didn't want you to die, Daniel. I panicked. Daniel laughed, a cold, broken sound. You didn't want me to die. Then why, Thomas, did you let go? The car instantly filled with an icy fog. Daniel's broken, twisted figure stood outside the frosted glass. He screamed, Why didn't you save me? Why didn't you save me? The phone turned an alarming, pulsing blood red. Final judgment initiated. A blinding white light wrapped around Thomas. I was sure this was his final moment. But then, I heard the gentle voice of the little girl. Thomas helped us. He is not evil, Daniel. The ancient voice of Spirit 3014 joined in. He fights for truth. You cannot harm the vessel, Spirit 3015. The spirits Thomas had freed surrounded Daniel's jurious shadow. They explained that fear made mistakes, but Thomas did not kill him. Daniel's rage melted. His distorted form healed into the old, smiling Daniel. Softly, accepting, he spoke. I was angry, Thomas, but now I understand. You were just scared. Daniel's body turned into an incandescent powder of light and vanished. Spirit 3015 released. The phone displayed a final, chilling message. You have freed all lost souls. Your connection with the dead ends here. But was it really over? 2020. Months passed. Thomas destroyed the black phone. Life returned to normal. One quiet night in the summer of 2020, Thomas lay awake. Suddenly, his new, modern smartphone on the bedside table vibrated lightly. A single notification appeared. Unknown call, no number. The phone rang again. The screen flashed. The digital words impossibly scrolling. Spirit mode activated. A new voice, faint but clear, whispered from the receiver. A voice he had never heard before, full of new, unaddressed sorrow. Thomas, will you help me? Thomas closed his eyes, a single definitive tear tracing a path down his cheek. It had begun again. The phone was a mere vessel. The connection was permanent. He was the gatekeeper.
Thanks for watching. To hear more stories, please subscribe.